Welcome back, everybody, to the Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Coming to you live on the radio.com app. Make sure you download the radio.com app. Take us with you. Take all the great sports programming and music and talk, whatever you like. You can find it on radio.com. Also, we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you want to go over there and watch us, you can come into my studio home den here, as well as Q's home, Chaz's home, and just invade our privacy. You can come on in. But make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe to, by the way, to the YouTube channel. We do a bunch of different radio videos, including all the interviews and things we have here on the show. So make sure you do that. Check out silverandblacktoday.com, the website that started it all. Make sure you go up there. Some great stories up there from Moton, as well as some position outlooks, and this story that we're going to talk about now, guys, which is related to the Raiders and what they're doing locally. This week, the Raiders announced their third major local television deal, this time with the city's NBC affiliate, which is Channel 3 here in town. And it includes a training camp show and regular season content. And what they're doing, and this is really smart, because early on, talked to somebody in the business who said, listen, the Raiders are going to go in and they're going to make deals with everybody, because even though me included love the Golden Knights hockey and there's UNLV fans out there and all that stuff, they want to dominate local television and radio, but they want to dominate local television first and foremost. So they're going to go out and make deals with everybody so that they suck up all the air in the room, so to speak. And guys, this is what I think people in Las Vegas who maybe have never lived in an NFL market don't understand is when you are in a market like Las Vegas, which is smaller. You know, the Raiders came out of the Bay Area, where you had to compete with a lot of different things, including the 49ers, who've had a lot more success in recent decades. They've had to compete. Here now, they came in and they are laying waste and making sure that they own all the time and all the space with these exclusive content deals.
Without a doubt, you know, and they're owning the whole market, you know, and football is king. We know that. Football, it pushes everything across the country. And the Raiders are going into Las Vegas and saying, you know what, this is our home, and we're going to show you that. And by all the TV deals that they're making, all the different partnerships they're coming up with, they're letting it be known that you will see the Silver and Black. You will see the Raiders all over Vegas, one way or the other. If you're looking for them or not, they're going to be in your ears, in your eyes. And see, that's the thing. You mentioned the Bay. They had to compete with the 49ers, the Warriors, the Kings. I mean, to say something, you know, LA as to a certain extent, the Lakers and everybody. I mean, there's so much that there is to compete with in the Bay. This in Vegas, they're going to say, this is our home and we're going to own it all.
Yeah, Chaz, you worked with the Lakers, you know, being in that LA market, and the Lakers obviously have always done well. The NFL wasn't there forever, but same thing, right? Too, is you saw the Lakers, they had the Clippers there, they had hockey. They did much of the same thing, did they not? In trying to just try to get as much content, as many relationships as you can with local media.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only local, but I can remember we drafted a Chinese player because they were, you know, when the Chinese market was becoming a huge thing. And then we went after Jeremy Lin for the same kind of reasons. You know, not, obviously they're good players, but you know, you're reaching out to good. And the same thing with the Raiders. They're not trying to dominate the local market. They're trying to dominate the region. I've got friends in Utah, and the Raiders are advertising up in Utah. Yep. And I saw a girl wearing a Marcus Mariota jersey a couple of days ago here, a Raiders Mariota jersey. So, you know, I'm not saying they got Mariota just to try to get the Hawaiian market, but you know, that is.
Oh yeah, they did.
But
no,
you know what I mean?
But that's part of it. You know, you're right, Chaz. And Fabian Ramirez, one of our longtime listeners and viewers on YouTube, with his question right now, we're showing you on the screen if you're watching the video. Fabian says, will all of this new video be available online? It's a good question, Fabian. I don't know. We'll ask. We'll do some interviews in the next few weeks. We'll get some of the TV guys on. We're friendly with them. They're all good guys. We'll ask them kind of what their stations are doing. I would imagine yes, because most of these stations now have their content on digital. Now, it's programming that they're creating about the Raiders. It's not Raiders programming that they're just showing, which the Raiders do as well, too, by the way. The Raiders have their black and silver and black show and all these other things that they do that they can pump out to local stations. But these are unique content deals, including following them and doing, like, for example, the Channel 3 deal that we just talked about. That deal includes highlighting Raider stuff on even the high school TV shows here when it's high school football season. So again, they're intertwining the Raiders professional football and what they do in the community, because they do a lot when it comes to high school football and things of the nature. So you're going to see that. And to me, though, it's just brilliant now. But guys, if I am UNLV, if I'm the Golden Knights, it's going to be much harder for me, Q, and you live in a market where you're covering college and pro. And even though people love their college sports, if the NFL team, if the Cowboys decided to come in and suck up the air, it's hard to break in.
It is. It absolutely is. I mean, the Cowboys, Texas. I mean, no matter what, no matter where you are, even if you're in Houston, who has their own NFL team, the Cowboys are still king. And that's just what it is. They own the San Antonio market. That's why they objected to, hey, the Raiders could go play in San Antonio. No, they can't, because Jerry Jones has that on lock. He's not going to let another football team go into that market that he already owns. And so, yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. And so football teams and other sporting events and colleges, it's hard to be a big player in the market. You can do it. You can carve out a niche. Like Baylor did a really good job carving out a niche in Central Texas. But I mean, if it worst come to worst, if you had to pick between Cowboys and the Baylor, I believe they're picking Cowboys all day long.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer, right? The other thing, though, is if you look at this again, it's hard because you don't want, and Q, you're a Bay Area native, I know, and the team moving and all the emotions surrounding that. But sometimes I think this is where people miss the point on they're leaving this big market for this small market. But when you're the small fish in the big pond,
yes,
right,
then
that's exactly. So when you do that, you're not really doing. Now you're the big fish in the small pond, all right?
Exactly.
And with all due respect to the Golden Knights, and then you have UNLV who still can't find their way but are trying. It's like you're not, you just now own it. So if I'm them, not only I build a stadium, I build my headquarters here. I got TV deals with everybody. So there's not going to be very many times of the year or the week or the day when you're going to tune in and not see Raiders content.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. And that's honestly, guys, why I even got into the business, is because just like Fabian pointed out on the group chat or on the live chat, he said that it always killed him, the lack of Raider coverage in the Bay Area. And this has been going on not just last year, but all years. I mean, when I was a young dude, that was part of the frustrations, is why is this team that I love so much not being shown on TV? Why are they the last highlight to be shown? Why are they the almost the redheaded stepchild of the group, you know? And it's true. And so now, like you said, they go into a market and they are the big fish. They're a shark in this pond, you know, and they're being looked at as, you know, all this greatness is coming to the market. Now, the thing about it is it's all good right now. You got to find a way to win games, because that will wear out really, really quick if you're not winning games.
Right. Now they will. I always thought, you know, back in the day when the Raiders were still, you know, very good, 80s, 90s, I always thought, why didn't the Raiders have their own channel? You know, just 24 hours, the Raiders, man. And then the Lakers finally did it, you know, a few years back, 10 years back. And I was like, how come the Raiders aren't doing that? Like, you know, that's for us being Raider fans. That's all we want to see 24/7 is Raiders action. Unfortunately, in different markets, when you're competing with other, you know, sports teams, maybe not everybody wants to see the Raiders. But now that they're in Vegas, it will be everybody wanting to see the Raiders, because they will dominate over here. And I think they will win. I think they'll bring it, you know, they'll bring it back to the good old days.
Right.
That's our optimist, Chaz. But no, it's true. But Q and I was on Q's podcast, the Locked In podcast. Oh, there's our dog visit of the weekend. I love it. But Q, I was on your podcast this week real quick before we go to break, and we talked about like endorsements and things. And that's the other thing too, that you think, again, smaller market, how the player's going to make more money on the side. But in reality, there's a lot of opportunity here in Las Vegas. You're also close to the LA market, and they're tied in constantly. But this is also, I think, going to be better for the individual players who are going to make deals. You know, the Hunter Renfros of the world who do have national appeal, but now he can sign a deal with a car dealership here, and he's making money in endorsements all over the place.
Exactly. That's the thing about it, man. They're going to want to put these players' names in lights. I mean, they really are. Everyone's going to want to be associated with the Raiders one way or the other. And all these businesses are going to come to them and say, hey, this is what we have to offer. Let's get it going. And you see the Raiders and all the endorsements they've already come up with, and they haven't played a down yet in Las Vegas yet. They haven't even hit the field, and they're already coming up with a lot of business adventures. It's only going to continue to grow. And that's an exciting thing for the Raiders and Raider Nation.
Yeah, and guys, before we go to the break too, the one thing, and I keep fighting this, and I'm not picking on you, Dr. Marone, but I don't think they're going to lose home field advantage. I think that's overplayed. I think, again, back to Q's point about winning. If you're a 2-14 team, yes, it might be a problem. But the Raiders are in that rebuild. They're on that step of taking the next step of being a good, serious playoff run team. So I don't see it. We saw it with the Knights. You saw it. You're here. You know. Yes, they won and they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. But even when there were lulls and they weren't doing well, you didn't have massive turnout. So I think it's going to be okay. I think you're going to be all right with home field advantage, and I don't think the Raiders will lose that. It will take time for the tradition, for the crowd, for the fans here to get into it and find their rhythm too. But it's going to happen, and I think it's going to be a whole new type of home field advantage here in Las Vegas. Okay, we're going to step aside for the bottom of the hour break. When we come back, we're going to talk about something that most Raider fans don't like to talk about because it's not fun, and that is the Raiders' red zone offense. It was brutal last year. Have they found a way to improve it? We'll talk about it next here on the Silver and Black today on CBS Sports Radio 1140.